So much for being quiet. Jeez.
Landing fish penalty?
Yeah, definitely a landing fish penalty. That was more like a 5-minute penalty. There he is. Got a piece of wood out there. Yeah, it's a decent fish. All right. Get up in here, Buster. Ate it. He absolutely ate it. Come here. Settle down. I'll let you go. Go, look at that. Little tube all the way down his throat. Just throwing out there in about 12 foot of water. There's a lay down out there. And I mean, as soon as it hit the bottom, the fish snatched it. It's a good bite. This is a new colored tube by Crock-O-Gator. I'll let this fish go. It's hot out here. Don't want to keep these fish out of the water any longer than you need to. Some new colors from Crock-O-Gator with this tube. Love a tube. I don't throw it much in the summertime, but we're playing around with it today, and we are getting a few bites on it. It's super hot out here. I mean, I'm talking like it's 93 degrees. The humidity is probably 50%, so the heat index is 105, 110, something like that. We got a little bit of breeze, which is helping, and we are in the middle of the day. It's like 12:30. So just got out here, and you got to go when you can go. I mean, if you can still get out here, as long as I can get out here in this heat, I'm going to do it. There'll be a day where I can't do it, and we'll deal with that later. But as for now, we're out here just flipping a tube around. Something a little bit different. Something's kind of like a springtime deal for most people, and myself included, but you can also catch them in the summertime. So cool color. It's green pumpkin. It's got a little bit of kind of purple there. Now the beauty of a tube is you can do about anything with it. You can punch grass with it, flip it in there. Not actually punching, but I am flipping it in there. And it's grass, and you can work it through wood, you can work it through rock, hit the outside grass line like this, and it just comes through everything really good. If I want to go up here shallow and try flipping some of these holes, I don't have to worry about it. You know, a worm, sometimes it's a little bit tricky getting in and out of the grass, but a tube just kind of goes right down through there. Just flip these little holes. God, that's a good bite. It's coming up off that point. There's a little hard spot out there, and just dragging across that hard spot, and bump. I don't know how I missed that fish. I think I got a little excited. Try it again, and that felt good. Thought for sure that fish was going to be there when I swung on him. Come on, fishy. Fishing out here off a secondary point. That's the beauty of it too, man, is you can fish it everywhere. You can get up shallow in the grass. You can fish around laydowns, punch it or flip it in the holes, and get out here off these points and just kind of fish it slow, bounce it a little bit, and let it sit. All right, I've had 3 bites on this tube that I've missed, and they're really liking it. I'm not 100% sure if they're bluegill or bass, but the last one was actually a thump. It felt like a good fish, and they're just dropping it. So what I'm gonna do, I know this is kind of controversial, but we're gonna break out the old bait fuel. I'm gonna put some bait fuel on this sucker and see if it changes the outcome of things. Cool thing about a tube, it has a hollow cavity, so you can actually pour some of the bait fuel down inside of there and kind of work it down in there. There you go, we got bait fuel down inside that tube. Now it's not going to stay in there forever, obviously, but it will be in there and it'll kind of leach its way out, and I'll just kind of touch the rest of these tentacles, and I'm going to put, eventually I'm going to put a little bit of chartreuse on the tips if I don't get bit. So we'll see if this makes a difference. There are some fish in this area. I just had a couple bites here on this tube. Fishing this grass line here. Got some shade here. We're on a secondary point. It's kind of deep right here. The channel kind of swings up against this point. And I just put some bait fuel on that tube. See if that makes a difference. I'm just real curious, because I know they're liking this tube. They're just hitting it and dropping it for whatever reason. Could be a color thing. Not really sure, but I want to make sure that I get the scent. I put some sunscreen on earlier, and sometimes when you put a plastic bait on there, you get that sunscreen on there, and they do not like sunscreen. So maybe this bait fuel will knock that sunscreen stank off of my tube, and they'll hold on to it. We're going to find out. There he is. Look at that stupid live scope. Fish thumped it. Bait fuel? I don't know. Maybe it helped. Come here. Come here. These fish are rowdy, man. Come here. Nice fish. Nice fish. There we go, Texas rig tube. Look at that. Got him right where you're supposed to get him. Look how fat that little sucker is. Yeah, I was sitting there staring at that live scope, man. All of a sudden my line jumped. I tell you what, you don't need live scope to catch fish, I'll tell you that, but it is nice to look around. Sometimes it's distracting when you need to be focusing on where your bait is and not out off the bank. Good fish, good fish. All right, folks, we're catching a few fish out here on a Texas rig tube, and it is ridiculously hot out here. We got a little bit of breeze, which is nice, but the hook that I'm using is made by Owner. This is a cutting point. It's called the Big Wide Bite Short Shank hook, and I'm throwing a 3/0. 3/0's a good size for these tubes, but it's a big old hook. I mean, it's got a really deep gap in it, and I'm throwing a Crock-O-Gator tube. So new tube colors that they came out with. The one I've been getting the bites on is, it's like a green pumpkin with some purple in it. They have, this one's kind of like an Okeechobee crawl. It's got more blue to it, and then they've got pink for, you know, smallmouth and sight fishing and things like that. And I've been throwing this around a little bit just to mimic shad. Had a few follows on it, and then they've got a really good springtime color, which is green pumpkin orange. But the one I've been catching some fish on today is this green pumpkin purple. So we're gonna rig this thing up. I'll show you how this hook fits in this tube. So you just come in the point just a little bit and out like that. And I like to leave some space between the actual eye of the hook and the bend. I don't like to have that tube running all the way up. So that's what you're looking at right there. That's kind of how I like it. I think you get more fish in the boat doing that. So just Texas rigging it, you know, you guys know what Texas rig is, right? Yep. But got a really good gap. Look at that bite. So I'm throwing it on a 3/8 ounce tungsten weight. I got a little bobber stop right here. Got 17-pound test, just a 7'3" medium heavy flipping stick. I'm just tying the San Diego jam knot. It's been a great knot for me. Just wrap that thing around there like 6 times. you got any questions about that knot, let me know. I can show it to you. Leave in the comment section, what is your favorite knot? I mean, Palomar's great knot, but this San Diego jam knot's super quick. Moisten it, slide it down, cinch it up like that. Definitely moisten it out here in this heat because it will fry your line if you don't. You'll get the little squigglies and it'll weaken your line. Just cut that tag off. 3/8 ounce weight, and what I've been doing is sliding this little bobber stop down to about right there. I'll leave a little bit of a gap in there just so it gives the bait a little bit more action. And that's all we're doing. We're covering this grass line, and if we see any kind of wood in the water, definitely flip into that wood, and I'm pulling out a little bit and making some casts out on these points. There we go. Little guy. Look at that. Oh, bluegill action. He ain't gonna live. Man, they are on this thing. Predator fish, man, they're hitting this thing as soon as it hits the bottom. Come here, where are you going, man? Where are you going? Ate that tube. I'm gonna have to be a little quicker on the hook set. Look at that, man. You think they like that tube or what? I mean, I got to get a hook in them a little bit quicker than that, but we're gonna let this guy go. That's fun. There's a little piece of brush right there. There's a fish over here. And that brush is in like 18. There's a little bit of a point right there. And we just dropped our tube in there. Dragging it through there comes the fish right here. There he is. Ha ha ha. Dude, that's a good fish, guys. No, it's not. It's a dang flathead. Oh. So everything likes these tubes, man. That was best bite of the day. Holy cow, he freaking dumped it. Look at that. Little Crock-O-Gator tube in the snout, baby. Good fish. Look at that. Best bite of the day. That fish absolutely dumped it. That was fun. I thought that was Big Mama for a second. This thing is so handy. Instead of like knocking my rod tip up against that, just pop that off of there. No problems whatsoever. There he is. Decent fish. Oh yeah, that's a nice fish. It's out here a lot deeper. That's a nice one. On that old tube. Yeah, buddy. There we go. Look at that solid fish, folks. Boys and girls, that's a nice fish. Sticking with that tube, man. I put the bait feel on there. I don't know if it made a difference, but it's a green pumpkin with a little bit of purple. It's just a 4-inch flipping tube. It's nice and soft. You know, they get this in their mouth, they kind of hold on to it. Got that 3/0 owner hook. And just a good solid fish there. Whew. Man, that's gonna wrap it up. It is hot. I think I'm gonna motor around, get out in the wind a little bit more, but give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the content. And you know, get out here and try a tube. It's a little bit something different. Works all times of the year, but when everybody's throwing a worm and a shaky head out deep, sometimes the old tube can get her done. Get her done. Until next time. It's fun.